You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
So today, what I'm going to talk about is just finding facilities, right? Finding facilities. Since you guys are all new, right? How do you find these facilities? You know, how does Stacy find all these facilities to buy? Now we have a program in Storage Nerds, and it's called Turnkey Acquisitions. And I don't know if you guys have heard of me talking about this, but I basically have 10 virtual assistants that work for me, and they do nothing but just call owners and see if they want to sell. Right. So one of the ways that we find for the facilities that we buy is cold calling. Right. And I'm going to talk about that today, a couple of different ways that you can do that. But, you have to think about when you're cold calling, it's different from cold calling is different from like going on Craigslist. So what I'm going to talk today is the difference between like Craigslist and cold calling. All right. And then kind of show you like kind of how we maneuver through those two ideas of how we find our facilities. And let me see. And so that's kind of the purpose of today. And then if you have any questions along the way, just put them into the chat and I'll try to go over those. Typically what I do is I try to do find them, fund them, run them every month. So on Mondays, it's like find them, fund them, run them, find them, fund them, run them, right? But the schedules kind of got screwed up because I haven't been here in the last couple of weeks. But just know that there is kind of a method to the madness, right? The 3-step process that I teach is like find them, fund them, run them. So hopefully next week, if I can come, then I'll do fund them. And then after that, I'll do run them. Okay. All right. So the thing I wanted to talk to you about is just like all the different ways that, just to give you guys, because I saw there's a whole bunch of like newbies here too. Okay. And, so we own now, as of this week, we'll own 15 storage facilities. How does Stacy find all these 15 facilities? Another thing I was going to tell you too, was that in my course, it's the super simple self-storage course. When you buy that, you get access to the first 12 facilities that I bought. And I basically break those down into case studies. And those facilities are all facilities that were less than $1 million. All right. Good first time buyer facilities. And then you'll be able to see on every single one of those. I did the case studies last year, like last quarter. And then how did I find them? How did I fund them? And how am I running them now? So each one of those. So if you're interested in watching that, that's a very good bonus session for the course. Okay. Okay. So let's do finding. Okay. So I already told y'all that I do cold calling. All right. We do not use Craigslist to find facilities. Okay, we do not use Craigslist. All right. So Craigslist, if you don't know Craigslist is the website that like real estate brokers use to list their commercial properties. And I'm going to show that to you today, but like all different kinds of like any type of commercial property is listed on Craigslist. And once I'm going to try to kind of give you an overview of how we use Craigslist. But like Craigslist, I'm telling you, if you don't want to cold call, if you don't want to grind, right? If you don't want to like cold call and do the way that I do it, because we kind of do the hard way. So what we do, you have the easy way and the hard way, right? The easy way is go on Craigslist and look for storage facilities, right? That's the easy way. And then there's all these storage facilities. But the truth is like when you go on to Craigslist, the prices are just like ridiculous, right? It's like especially nowadays, because with the interest rates so high, Craigslist prices are really just like super crazy. Most of them, I was like 80% of them. All right. Now on Craigslist, right, your goal with Craigslist is to find the diamond in the rough, right? How can you find that diamond in the rough, right? All right, so this is really kind of this thing right here. It's a skill within itself, right? So if you do not want to cold call, if you don't want to go onto Google Maps and find facilities, which is the way that we do it, we do what's called virtual driving. I call it virtual driving for dollars. All right. I'm going to tell you that way is the best way to find storage facilities, but it is also the most tedious way to find storage facilities. Okay. If you do not want to do the most tedious, then of course everybody goes on to Craigslist. All right. And then Craigslist just lists the properties, and there's like 700 storage facilities for sale right now, you know. All right, so you can just go on to Craigslist, contact the realtor, and then get all the information and run deal analysis. All right, that's what you can do. That's the easy way to find storage facilities. The hard way to find storage facilities is to virtually drive for dollars, and then to cold calling the owners. All right. This is really it. I've done every way. Like when you get into my coaching, you know, we go over like 15 different ways to find storage. And some people like to do like letters, like send out letters, because, you know, with letters, basically because some of my students do letters. And what they say is that, like, if you send out a letter to owners, then they're going to call you back. So it's really not you calling them, but they're calling you. When they call you, right, that means that they're interested in actually really talking to you and selling, maybe possibly selling their facility to you, right? So you have to think like cold calling versus mailing letters. Okay. And this is really like two different mindsets. It's two different mindsets. When you're cold calling somebody, they are not thinking about selling. In fact, I talked to an owner today, and so there's some facilities up in the North Georgia area that we almost bought last year. It was like actually this time last year we were working with him. We put an offer in. It was going to be an owner financing offer, and then like right at the very last minute he backed out. And so we just told him, like, whenever you're interested in actually really selling, if you decide that you want to do this, then just call us back. Just call us back and let us know. So then I got an email. I just randomly got an email on Friday, and he said, "Hey, I think I'm ready to like sell now." It's like, I'm just not putting in the time and the effort to manage these facilities like I should be, right? Which was the same thing that he had said like last year, anyways. So so I talked to him today on the phone, and he told me that every week he talks to at least one or two people that are trying to buy his facilities. He has 6 facilities total, so either one of them or all 6 of them or whatever, right? But every week he's talking to somebody. And basically what he said too is that when he talks to the people on the phone, right, when he talks to the person, he's asking them like, okay, why do you want to buy my facility? What interests you about this facility? Do you have a number in mind? What cap rate are you thinking that you want to, would you be interested in buying? So, I mean, he's an educated owner that owns, property. And he's trying to figure out if the person that's calling him on the phone trying to buy his facilities are like, legit, and they're not just like tire kickers. What happens is a lot of people, it's easy to call an owner and say, "Hey, would you be interested in selling your facility?" And then they saying yes, and then like you doing nothing about it, right? And there's a lot of times we've talked to a lot of owners that have said, everybody calls me, they all want to buy my facility, but I never get offers. I hardly ever get an offer. He's like, are you actually going to give me an offer? Because I don't want my time to be wasted. And this is something that I am hearing over and over and over from owners. And so what happens, like with my virtual assistants, because they're cold calling, they're the ones that are trying to get in touch with the owners, right? That's their job, is to call them, get them to give all the information so we can send them offers. But there's a lot of owners out there is like, look, I will, if Stacy wants to talk to me personally, I will talk to her. I want to make sure that she's actually going to send us an offer, because like, I'm just tired of getting 1, 2, 3 calls a week, people asking me if they want an offer, and then like never, and I send them the stuff and they never want an offer. Right. So if you're going to actually cold call, I mean, you need to be legit about it, right? Because otherwise you're giving everybody else that actually going to give them an offer a bad rap. You know what I'm saying? And so owners are just getting very annoyed because like so many people are calling right now. And so, and you have to think of that mentality of just calling them, right? It's first of all, when you cold call an owner, are you actually going to be able to have a conversation with this person? Not just, you can't call, like back in the day, I used to just call up and be, hey, would you be interested in getting an offer? And they'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll take an offer. And I'll say, okay, give me these 6 things. This is what I need. And I'll just make you an offer. And they would just give me something and I would just run the numbers and give them an offer. But like gone are those days anymore. It's because and that was like pre-COVID. That was pre-COVID. I wish it was back to pre-COVID, honestly. But it's not. The last COVID screwed everything up. All right. So the last 2 years, everybody wanted to get into storage, and everybody still wants to get into storage, right? And so, and I get it, but if you're going to cold call people, like, be legit about it, right? Like actually talk to the owners and like know what you're talking about, understand what you're talking about. And so that way they feel, because the truth is that an owner, when you talk to an owner on the phone, the only way they're really ever going to sell you this property is if they know, like, and trust you. That's it. They have to know. Luckily, a lot of people know, like, and trust me, or they want to do business, with me. And, that's because I'm very confident. I talk to them. I know what I'm talking about. Right. And, so they just like, they trust me, but so don't be those type of, I'm telling you, I get emails. I just got an email the other day from somebody that was like, hey, would you be interested in selling your facilities, your one facility or whatever. And, and it's just kind of annoying, like, why would you send me some random email? I don't even know who you are and stuff, so just keep that in mind. Cold calling, the purpose of this conversation, this thing right here, this purpose right here is to tell you that you have to be smart about cold calling nowadays, right? You can't just randomly cold call. It's getting harder and harder because there's just too many hands in the pot, right? So this is the mentality that we take here, that the mentality internally. My virtual assistants have been doing this now, cold calling for a year now, putting in offers for a year. They really, honestly, I'm telling you, they know what they're doing, and they're putting in offers every week. And it took them 6 months to get to that point of calling and talking to owners and putting in offers, and calling and talking to owners and putting in offers, and then just relying on me to help them and guide them through that process. And you could see over the course of the last couple of years last couple of months, that they're just getting better and better and better at it. All right. So just know that cold calling is not easy. It's hard. It's difficult. And you have to really understand the process, the entire process, and how to like talk to owners in order to do it. Okay. All right. So this is the hard way. All right. Mailing letters, right? Mailing letters is easy. That's the easy way, right? You can buy a list, right? You can buy a list easily of owners of like storage facility owners. The lists suck, just so you know, they're not like good. So just expect like, a 1% callback rate, right? So if you send out 1,000 letters, you'll get maybe 10 people to call. Okay. Maybe. That's 1% is 10, right? Yeah. I can't think right now. So, and, you know, and then out of those 10, maybe one of them will be interested in, like, you know, working with you and stuff like that. You know, you just have to, you just have to know that mailing out letters is easy, but when you get that call coming in, you need to be on top of it. You need to know what you're talking about. You have to understand deal analysis. You have to be able to talk to them and get them to know, like, and trust you on the phone. All right. So mailing letters is easy, and then cold calling is hard. So we choose the hard way. Why do we choose the hard way? Because nobody wants to do cold calling. That's why, right? Okay. And then finally, the virtually driving for storage. I'm going to show y'all how I do this, but essentially all I do is I just go onto Google Maps. All right. And then I just search, right, storage. Okay, now real fast before we go on to Google Maps. Okay, so Marshall is asking, how do you get the list of owners to cold call? That is what I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so before we go on to Google Maps, what I want to do real fast is I want to show you guys just the difference. Do you guys know this, right? I don't know. You all tell me if you know this or not. The difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary markets. Okay. And before you really start getting into, you know, anything with storage, you have to understand these three different types of markets. And this is really just commercial real estate in general, the commercial market. Okay. And I just draw it like this is kind of what I do. Okay. So this is the primary market. This is the secondary. And this is tertiary. Okay, so primary would be like, you know, like Nashville, right? Nashville is like a primary market, right? If you go onto Google Maps and you search like storage near me, all right, and you see that when storage near you is like, you know, if you're living in like a major metropolitan area, you're going to see like the REITs, right? Primary is like REITs. Primary is like U-Haul, Public Storage, Extra Space, you know, all these big players. Okay. And so, you know, and typically those properties are like super expensive. And I really don't, I teach, don't even work with don't even look in primary markets unless you can afford like 3 million plus facilities. Okay. If you can afford 3 million plus facilities, maybe there's a market out there that, you can look in, but if you can't afford $3 million, then you should be looking to either secondary or tertiary. So primary, right, is 3 million. That's a 3 million plus. Okay. And population is like super important. Population is really important as well too. Population of primary markets is like, greater than is that a less than or a greater than 250,000? I never learned that in school. Okay. And is that less than or greater than? Somebody tell me. And so you want to do a population of, like, you'll just know that, like, when you're Googling population of Nashville and it's saying, like, you know, whatever it is, 1 million people, 1 million, that you just know that's a primary market, right? And then what I do is I look now in so I'm in this range. I'm in what I call subprimary market. All right. The subprimary market is kind of in between secondary and secondary and primary. And this population is called, I call it the subprimary market. Subprimary is, and this, if I do that, that looks better. All right, Jim. I don't know. That's supposed to be like a greater than sign, but I always mix up greater than and less than, just so everybody knows. Okay, so subprimary is the population is going to be, all right, less than 250, so probably around, like, let's say 150 K to above 250, to above 2, yeah. Okay, so anyways, 150 and up. Let me do this. Hang on. Where's my eraser? Yeah. Okay. And so subprimary populations, thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. All right. So okay. Okay, so subprimary is like 150,000 to 250,000, right? And primary is like 250,000 plus. Okay. And then you have secondary markets. Secondary market, and secondary market is, oh yeah, and the price range between for subprimary is going to be like I would say 2 million plus. 2 million plus. Okay, for subprimary. I mean more, it's a lot. Sometimes it's even more, right? But it's gonna be more expensive. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. There you go. See, I'm getting educated too. And then secondary is secondary population would be like, you know, let me see. I would say like 75,000 to 150K population. Okay. And then the price range is going to be like a 1 to 3 million. Okay. And then you have what's called subsecondary. And these are all cities. All right. So primary market, these are all cities with populations. Okay. Just so you know, this is Nashville. And then subprimary is going to be the suburbs of Nashville. Right. And then secondary is going to be Clarksville. So we're buying a facility in Clarksville, Tennessee right now. That is a secondary market. Okay. And then subsecondary would be like a suburb of the secondary market. All right. And the secondary market, the subsecondary market is going to be, right. It's going to be like, you know, I would say 25 to 75K population. And then also the price is going to be like maybe 500K to 1.5 million. Okay. Subsecond. You see kind of how I'm working it? I'm going down, right? Each market I'm going down. And then you have the tertiary market. Tertiary market just means country, right? Country. So then you have two different types of country markets. You have the 25K or less, and you have the 5K or less populations. Okay. 5K actually is actually like, you know, 5K is like probably, you know, it's, you know, a couple 100,000, you know, less than, okay, wait, hang on, less than, you know, less than 300K, right? And this is going to be anywhere from like, let's say 700K to, you know, to 300K, something like this. Okay. And this is like less than 300K, so little tiny facilities. All right. So now you kind of have this idea. So you're asking yourself, what can I afford to buy? Right? You're reverse engineering where you should be looking. There's no reason for you to be looking in a primary market if you can't afford $3 million. There's no reason for you to even be looking in a secondary market unless you can afford, you know, $1 million. If you can't afford that, there's nothing wrong with it. You're just looking in a different market. You're looking in tertiary markets. And what's so funny is that, you know, back in the day, like all these main players, they were all in, you know, they were all like primary market. And then like primary markets started to get oversaturated. So now you're seeing a lot of like primary markets coming into secondary markets, right? So for instance, I live in Tallahassee. Tallahassee has a population of like 200,000 people, 200,000 to 300,000 people, depending on the time of year, right? I don't live in a primary market. Now, the downtown part of Tallahassee, like the very downtown, there's like, I think one Cube Smart and maybe like, I don't even think there's any U-Hauls here or anything. There's like one, like, so when you start looking on Google and looking for storage in the areas that you're interested in, you have to be aware of who the players in those markets are. That's the purpose of me showing you this. Who are the players? And you will really start to recognize that in a primary market, you have all the bigger REITs there, right? And then you might have some like, some like life storages, they're like wannabe bigger players and stuff, kind of maybe in these primary markets. They're growing, right? But there's all these huge players in these markets. And then every once in a while, you'll have like some massive huge storage facilities that are just one-offs, or whatever. Like, so for instance, like in Tallahassee, we have King Storage is what it's called, or Storage King or something, and they have like within the Panhandle in the South Georgia area, they have, I think maybe 6 or 8 facilities, maybe 10, I'm not sure, so they'd be kind of like us, they're a good secondary market player, and they really they're in Valdosta, which is where we're at. We're in Tallahassee, we're in the Panhandle, Florida, we're in South Georgia, and that's where they are. They're kind of like us. This is a secondary market player, right? And so, you really want to kind of pay attention to this, and you want to know how much are each of these facilities in each of these markets going to be. So there was a facility that came up for sale in Tallahassee like last year, and it was like $4 million. And I had never seen a facility in Tallahassee come up, or anything like that. But this is a sub-secondary to primary market, and it was a $4 million facility. Okay, so you just have to know that however much money that you can come up with is where you should be focusing your time and your energy to look. And you just have to know it's the 80-20 rule, right? With financing, you're going to have to put 20% down. So when you run your your numbers, if you can only come up with 50 grand, then you should not be looking in secondary markets. I would say, unless it's like, a small secondary market or something like this. But but actually, honestly, I think secondary markets are really they're becoming more expensive, is what I'm seeing now, just because of what happened over the last couple of years. So if you can only come up with 50 grand and you can only afford $500,000, then, don't waste your time looking in a secondary market. Look in tertiary markets. All right. This is because I'm talking about, we are going to be building our lists of owners that we're going to be talking to. And what we do in turnkey acquisitions, like when I bring students on, because essentially my turnkey acquisitions virtual, the assistants, what they do is they just get the parameters of the student, because we find our deals for my students. And then we get the parameters. So the students tell me, look, I only have 50,000, I only have $100,000, and I want to be in Missouri. Right. So if somebody's telling us I have $50,000 and I want to be in Missouri, we're not looking for a facility in St. Louis. We're not looking in these big areas. We're looking at, you can't look in Branson, Missouri, because Branson, Missouri is super expensive. Right. So we have to find little tertiary markets, and we start talking to the owners in those markets for that student. All right. So this is what you guys have to think about when you start building your list. How much money can you afford? And which areas should I be looking in, so that you're not, and this is one thing, because when we started with my virtual assistants, and they were just building lists, and they would have all the U-Hauls and Cube Smarts on the list. And I was like, do not put those. It's not like we can call the owners of those, you can't call the owner and talk to U-Haul, right? So don't put those on your list. Don't call Monster, don't call Life Storage. These are all big, huge players. You can't call them. Okay. Hang on. We're in Google Maps now. Okay. So hopefully this works. Yeah. So, okay, let's just say let's just pull this up. So this is where I'm at. Plan and book dinner out. Okay, no thanks. I don't need to go on to dinner. Okay, so I'm in Tallahassee is where I'm at. Okay, so if we search, right? If we search, storage, right? Storage in Tallahassee. So now you can start looking at like the facilities here. Okay. And so you could see there's prime storage. Cubes, there's a CubeSmart, there's two CubeSmarts, there's a Parkway, a Budget, there's another Prime Storage, Fort Knox, self-storage is in Tallahassee, okay, and Storage King, right here, remember I told you Storage King was here, there's 3 of them in Tallahassee, and there's a Moving Place, there's another CubeSmart, there's a extra space, there's one extra space, there's a Saver self-storage, okay, all right. So you can see here, there's a CubeSmart right here, and there's a CubeSmart right here. Those are the only 2. There's 2 Fort Knoxes. There's an extra space here. There's a Storage King here and a Storage King here, right? So, this is not really primary market. Maybe I would call it subprimary, because if you're in like Nashville, you're just going to see like CubeSmart, U-Haul, public space, all this kind of stuff there, right? We would be really this is like a sub-primary market is what this is, okay? And then you have a couple of other ones like Otter self-storage, Otter self-storage, and we can actually click on this and you can look at the pictures, right? Yeah, so you can see, the picture. So you can see it's a massive, huge storage facility. It's like massive, right? So we're not gonna be able to afford this, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So just by looking right through here, you can see that this is definitely like, I would call it subprimary market, not primary, but subprimary. Okay. And so let's just go let's go this way a little bit. We're in the panhandle of Florida here. So now let's just do storage. Okay. And let's just try to find, let's just zoom in and see if we can find some here. Get out of the Tallahassee area. And let's just say search this area. Okay. All right. So now I just searched to the west of Tallahassee. Okay. And you can see there's a little tiny city here. Let's see, what city is this? Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what city this is. Okay. But because I'm still new here. We just moved here a couple months ago. But I always search in satellite imagery is what I do. That's kind of how I look. And then you can see here, we saw, here's BNS. It's not BS, it's BNS. Right. And then, so now see, you can look and then you can zoom in and you can look to see at these facilities, right? You can see this is supposedly BNS storage. Maybe that's indoor. I'm not sure. So we could drop down and see. Here's another storage facility, GMS site. Look, this has no website, no phone number. No, the phone number's here, but no website. So maybe this is a brand new facility. Maybe this is maybe the manager sucks. Maybe the owner just hasn't figured out how to do this. So the issue is in tertiary markets. Has anybody ever tried to put a business on Google business profile before? It is not easy to put a business on, right? Because what you have to do is you have to go into Google, you have to set up your business profile. And then you have to fill a whole bunch of stuff out. They take you through this kind of wizard thing where you fill a whole bunch of stuff out. And then they either have to call, they have to do a video meeting with you so that you walk the property. And then you show them, this is my property here. I'm here. Here's my sign. Here's my office or whatever. Right. or they mail you a card, a postcard, and then you like get a code and you have to take the code and put it back. And then once you put all that information in and do all that, then you have to go back in and you have to finish filling all this out. All right. This is not easy. It's not easy, especially if you're like 60, 70, 80 years old and you've owned a facility for 10, 15, 20 years and like you're just managing it yourself. Okay. It's not easy. And a lot of storage facilities, actually every storage facility we've ever bought that's under $1 million never even had a mailbox. So they couldn't ever get a postcard and get the code and come back and put it back in and stuff like that. And they're certainly not going to sit there and video themselves with Google, some customer service rep or something, right? So a lot of these places are not even on, or they haven't filled all this out properly. So that's what I call virtual driving for storage and building your list this way. It's super manual, super tedious. I get it, but there are a lot of storage facilities that are not even on Google Maps. In fact, half of the storage facilities I've ever bought, even more than half, probably 10 of them were not even on Google Maps. Okay. So, and then what you can do, let me see if I can do that. Can I drop this here or no? Hey, hang on. No, I can't figure it out. Okay, I was going to say, oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so there's no, you see, there's no road here. There's no blue line here. So I can't drop my person there. I could drop my person, let me see, here. Maybe. Oh yeah, there's a blue line here. Let's drop our person here and see. Okay. And then you can look and see, oh yeah, this is a storage facility. Look at that. There's a storage facility back. You can kind of sort of see it here. Okay. So, so then you can just get right into like Google and you could check to see, maybe it's on somebody's property. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. You know, but there's definitely a storage facility back there. Let's see if we can see it this way. It might be on somebody's property. I'm not sure, but you can drop yourself in and then just kind of look around and just see if there actually is a storage facility. And then you can, you know, add it to your list. So that's definitely a storage facility over there. Okay. And let me see. So then this one right here, you can't drop into, but this one you can, and you can see there's the storage here. So this might be B&S storage. And then this over here is not on Google Maps yet. Okay. So they're not on Google Maps because they haven't figured out, or they don't want to figure out how to get on Google Maps. Right. So I classify all of, like, when I'm building my list of storage facilities, we classify them as like, you know, if they're on Google Maps and they've filled everything out, they have their website, they have their phone number, then that would be like, you know, one type of a lead. If they're on Google Maps, like this one here, and they haven't, you know, like this one here, I don't know if I can draw on this or not. No, I can't draw. You know, I think I can somehow, but I haven't figured that out yet. Maybe this is it. Yeah. Yeah. So this one here is on Google Maps, but it's not, why doesn't that show up on your screen? Maybe it just takes a minute. It's not like, it doesn't have everything filled out. It doesn't have the website. It doesn't have, you know, ratings. It doesn't have reviews. So that would be like a different lead. That's a different type of lead, right? And then when you find a facility that is like totally not on Google Maps, those are what I call the hidden market. And those are like the hot leads, right? And a lot of times you have to really dig to even try to figure out who the owner is of those. Okay. 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 So that's here. Let's see. So that's the B&S. Oh, look, yeah, see, here's Gadsden. This is a bigger one right here. See how big that facility is? That's a massive, huge facility here. So, you know, and then when you see like storage facilities like that are massive, huge, this is basically how it works. Mr. Gadsden, right? He started out like, you know, building this. These are like several phases. Right, this is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, maybe phase 4. You know, maybe he has this. This is probably what he had first, and he owned all this land. And then he was like, yeah, I own all this land right here. He's like, I'm gonna start building me some storage. And he came in and started building all these, because you can kind of see the roof is rusted a little bit on these. So maybe he afforded, he could afford some of that. And you see that a lot as well too in the tertiary markets, right? So then the question you have to ask, can I afford something like this, right? Can I afford this one? Well, okay. Should I call this guy? Is this something that I should call or not call? Okay, should I add this one to my list? Okay. And then what you're going to do when you're in these little tiny towns, like in the middle of nowhere, you want to just make sure that there's no storage facilities that you miss that may or may not be on Google Maps, right? So I'm not sure, this doesn't really look like a storage, but let's just say, this one could be a storage here. Let's see, let's just drop down and see what it looks like here. Let me see. Yeah, let's just drop here and see what it looks like. And we look, oh wait, let's see. Okay, oh no, this is like a big kind of like maybe warehouse place is what it is. Yeah. You can say, okay, that's definitely not storage. Some sort of business. Yeah, it's got security and stuff. Okay, so that's not storage. All right, and then you say, let's see, maybe there's something else in here. Let's just look and see. And I call this virtually driving for storage. And it's really like, are there any storage facilities that I miss? And once you start really kind of training the eye, you notice what storage looks like. So obviously you could see storage looks like, buildings like this, right? Unless it's in a climate control building, right? And then it looks like a big square or whatever. And those are kind of harder to detect. But like typical storage facilities, you could totally tell this is a storage, this is a storage, right? And then you can kind of virtually look around and maybe see if there's a storage facility that you missed. And a lot of times in these towns, there are always storage facilities that are not on Google Maps, right? And so you want to make sure that you don't miss those as well too, and you add those to your list. And I call those the hidden market, okay? So let's just see here. I'm not sure, this looks like a commercial building. This is cemetery, what's this? No, this is some commercial building. I mean, it looks like a good sized town, it looks like a good sized town. And so and a lot of times outside, on the outskirts of the town, there may be a storage facility as well too, okay? So you want to make sure you're looking like everywhere just to make sure that you don't miss anything, right? There might be something on the outskirts as well, okay? Especially like here's the, right here, this area over here, this is the hospital. Right, so it's got like a little emergency hospital area, so, it might be growing out towards this way. Right, so you just want to make sure that you're really looking and trying to see if you can virtually find some storage. And a lot of times, you'll find something if you just stay along the main road. Maybe you'll find like a small one in here somewhere. Okay. And then once you take a minute and kind of look through this, you say, okay, I think I got everything. This is on my list. Now, when you put like our list, I'll show you maybe next time what our list looks like. But essentially, it's like the name of the facility, and then it's like the address of the facility. And then we also write down the website, the phone number, the Google reviews. How many Google reviews does it have? Is it 2-star, 3, 4 stars? Does it have how many star ratings, and then how many reviews does it have? Because that's another way that we kind of classify our leads, is like if it's like, if it has like a 2-star rating and it's on Google Maps, it's obviously not being managed properly, right? So we should be calling that owner to see if they're interested in selling, because they're just probably like not into it, right? Okay. All right. So that's really virtually driving for storage. And we spend quite a bit of time. Actually, my VAs, that's their job, is to virtually drive for storage. All right. And then once you really, here's Sneeds. Once you really start getting into it, you'll train your eye to really pick up on storage. All right. It gets easier and easier to do this. Okay. So it is kind of tedious. Let's look at this one and see what it looks like. This is it here. Okay, no, this is somebody's house. This is not a storage facility. All right. This is a nice looking house right here. Florida with a big pool in the back. All right, but there's probably a storage facility in this town somewhere. It's probably just not, and that's another thing too. So C&H mini storage, oh look, 2.7 stars, and there's no website or anything on here. So like essentially what I would say is like, okay, this is a good lead. C&H mini storage probably exists, but we don't know where it's at. It's in Sneads, Florida. So I'm going to look for it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the owner. And I'm going to call the owner and see if he's interested in getting an offer. Okay. Now let me just quickly go to, I wanted to show you, let's see. Now, okay. So now we're in. So basically I'm in Craigslist, okay? So how do we find owner information? We do that through Craigslist, all right? Craigslist has two different types of like search engines. One of them is like all facilities for sale, right? So I could just go right here to for sale, and then you could see all the storage in Craigslist, right? You could do all types. And then you could do self-storage and then apply, all right? And then you could see all of the storage facilities for sale. There's 663 storage facilities for sale on Craigslist right now. Remember that I told you, this is also an easy way to find storage for sale. And look, this one right here is a store. Here's some sort of storage. Now, storage could be like a whole bunch of different things, right? Storage could be like warehouse storage or whatever, you know, but so just, you know, work your way through it. Here's land. You could do land, you know, so, but, we don't look, I personally don't look for storage on Craigslist because I feel like the prices are way too high. And I really just like to go to the owners directly because sometimes I just feel like brokers just get in the way of everything. And I just want to talk to the owner directly, you know, but I always have to go through the broker, which is very frustrating. Actually, the one that I'm closing on this week, there's a broker and he was a very nice, good broker, but it was just like some of the times I just wanted to just talk directly to the, to the owner. And the only reason I'm buying this facility is because a wholesaler brought it to me. All right, so that's it. But I like to go to the owner directly is what I like. Okay, so now the reason I use Craigslist, now you have to pay for this. It's like $150 a month. All right, just so you know. But the reason I use Craigslist is because you can get all of the information of like the owner of a property, okay? And you do that through like the sell, I think is it sales comps? No, properties is where it is. So I pay for that. So you probably don't have that. If you went to Craigslist, you wouldn't see that because I pay for it. So then I go to here. Yeah, so let's do all types. And then you'll be able to just like, let's see, let's pull this property up here. I'm not sure. And then we basically use Craigslist to find owner information. All right, so let's just say here, okay, let's just say here's the property that you wanted to buy. All right, it shows you the contact information. You just have to click it. It gives you the phone number and if there's an email address available, it also gives you the email address. This is one of the ways that we use Craigslist. It's not the only way, but it's one of the ways. But it's a very easy way to find the owner's information. It's just to, because the thing with Craigslist not only gives you access to the properties that are for sale, it gives you access to every property in the country, every property. Okay. And so you can have like, you literally can find like any type of property on Craigslist, and you can see, you can get what I really love about Craigslist is it gives you the email address as well too. So let's just say this is sold. This is self-storage. And then this is, yeah, so this is sale. This is all of the storage facilities that have ever been sold since 1960. You get access to that database. All right. I mean, how powerful is that? There's 35,000 storage facilities that have been sold since 1960, right? And then we could just click on like this one here. I don't know. This is 2,500 square feet, $211,000 is what it's. I don't even know where this one is, but and then you can just click on it. Self-storage, 25 units, $211,000. Oh my gosh, Lord have mercy. So this one just sold on March 31st, right? And so it, and then you can see here's the property history, the tax histories here. Here's the ownership. Henny Properties owns this. You just click on it, open it up, and it gives you, look, all the phone numbers and even the email address of this owner, right? How awesome is that? It's like powerful, right? Okay. And so we just use Craigslist, right? Now, obviously it's $150 a month. And if you want to use Craigslist, just email me at email me at questions@stacyrossetti.com. Okay. And then I'll introduce you to Grant, who is our person for Craigslist or whatever. He'll make sure that's the $150 is a Stacy price. Typically it's $200 a month. Okay, just so you know. And I don't get any cutbacks or anything like that. He just says like anybody that signs up under you, we'll just give them $50 off a month. Okay. But so then you can just have access to all this information, plus so much more. Here's all the comps, demographics, population. I mean, everything like floodplains, climate. I mean, it really like anything that you need about the property, Craigslist has it like right at your fingertips. I'm telling you, it's super, super powerful. And it's worth $150,000, worth $150 a month. Okay. All right. If you really are serious about getting in and buying real estate property, you have access to every property in the country, every property, all the people's information. Okay. So that's basically what the session is today. The session today was about cold calling versus mailing letters versus virtual driving for storage. Those are really, I've done all of those over and over and over and over again. And then also getting onto Craigslist, and then you can just, look up properties there. You can look up facilities for sale there if you want. Okay. That was really what I wanted to show y'all today. Okay. On the training session. Now I got to hop off because I got to go to my pitch for my fund. Okay. So I have a fund. It's called the Self-Storage Fund of America. And this is for passive investors that are accredited investors. If you really want to buy a storage facility, you're like, wow, this is really a lot of work and I'm not sure if I want to do that. You should just put money into the fund and then I'll just do all the work for you. Okay, so I'm going to pitch that fund right now. And the website is stacyrossetti.com/fund, FUND. All right. And I typically pitch right after this session. I pitch that. Okay, so if y'all want to listen in, y'all could do that. Other than that, let me see. And then Jake is asking about price, this stuff, right? So that's like a whole nother session. Today was just finding them. Next week, Monday, cross your fingers, I'll be here and I will do funding them. So I'll get into like deal analysis and finding money and stuff like that. Okay. And other than that, if you're interested, if you really want to buy storage, you should just get my course, get my deal analyzer, get my course, and then come onto the Monday night sessions. And essentially you should be rocking and rolling by doing those three things. Okay. And you can get my course to just go to stacyrossetti.com. And the course is called Super Simple Self-Storage. Okay. All right. I will talk to you later. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.